Sheila.
Hi, Louise. Thanks for coming over.
Thank you.
We're going to squat.
Okay. Now, why do I want to squat? Why is this important for people to have this skill?
The squat is a major movement pattern for human bodies, right? So like we joke about the toilet, but it's also getting in and out of a chair. And the thing is, because it uses major muscle groups, you're loading your legs, your pelvis, your low back. We want to do this to maintain and improve our bone density, to keep our muscle loss. We don't want muscle loss, sarcopenia as we age.
Okay, so this is going to build up my
the quads.
Is it going to give me big muscle man quads?
No, probably not. There's lots of talk out there right now about, gaining too much bulk and what happens when you're 60 compared to 50 or 40. And
I thought you were going to 60 compared to, that's what I know she's there too.
A lot of people want to squat. They want to add load, but they can't because they can't hold a neutral back position. So they compromise their back, putting themselves at risk for injury. They have poor hip mobility, so they can't get into some hip flexion. They have sore knees, or they have ankles that are not as mobile as they need to be, or feet that are lax in their structure, so they are losing their arches, and when they add load, things happen, like the arch collapses. And sometimes with squatting, depending on where you train, you have to wear shoes. In some gyms, they don't allow bare feet. So that, then again, a little plug for the home environment. You can do some training in bare feet, and that's going to help the smaller muscles of your feet. So yeah, like squatting is, when we think of program planning, most programs have a squat variation of some sort. And then once you master your squat, you can turn the squat into a more complex exercise. You can squat, and then you can press, and you can squat 1 kettlebell, 2 dumbbells, you can hold the weights here. There's just so many things you can do as far as variety goes with squats. But if you can't squat safely, body weight, you don't have this fundamental movement pattern, then you shouldn't load. So now your feet can be hip width or wider, your toes can be straight or turned out, and all of these are good. You're going to find a natural squat pattern. You can go ahead and do a few squats. And we'll do some sideways to the camera and some facing the camera. But you're going to find a squat pattern that feels pretty good, right? Like you don't separate the dowel from the head, the mid back, and the butt. You maintain the lower lumbar curve. And as you're coming down into the squat, you're not collapsing into the arches. The knees aren't coming in, right? So I would cue breath, breathing in on the way down and exhaling on the way up.
So what would you say to somebody who maybe is coming into this super early on, and maybe they're starting to have trouble getting in their chair? Like maybe they're using the armrest to get themselves in, or they're kind of falling into the chair. So if I can't do what I just did now, what do I do to get to that?
We use support. So you can use a wall. We can use a chair. You can use the chair to support you as you go down. So just kind of pretending that you had that good posture. As you come down, she maintains a lower lumbar curve. What you see, though, is that people who don't have the core control, the hip mobility, like I mentioned, the knee issues, right? Do you mind just coming down, rounding your back a little bit? So you come down and flex into your back.
Right.
Or the opposite of this is too much curve. You come down and you arch into your back. And I would not get her to do this if she was loaded, right? I just don't like doing bad movement, but that's a good example.
Right.
When you're loaded, if you had a weight and you flexed or extended, you put your low back at risk for injury. So that's where we kind of want to get picky. We want to get stronger, and in the process of getting stronger, we don't want to injure ourselves. And sadly, that happens a lot, right? Because people just think, squat, I want to squat. And, did you know that squats can make you very happy?
Do tell.
Well, like many exercises, when you squat, there's a whole cascade of things that are released in the body, endorphins and some dopamine and some serotonin, some good feel-good stuff. So I joke because that also happens when you smile. So if you squat and smile together, it's just a win-win.
I thought that was a grimace.
You won't even know yourself by this afternoon. So let's do a couple things. Let's show a double dumbbell squat. And you can hold these weights up at your shoulders. And just give us a couple squats, pulling yourself down into that position and coming up. And connecting with your feet, adding your breath. Nice strong inhale as you come down is going to support your back. Exhale as you come up and finish. And I'll take a look at it from a few different angles, and that just looks great. Now as she comes down, back stays steady, back up to the position. I like the breathing. So easy, medium, or hard?
I mean, you feel that. I mean, it's an extra 10 pounds
extra 10
that
pounds.
is going up and down.
Let's see something a little heavier. How about a 12 kilogram kettlebell? There's the goblet squat position, finding your foot distance apart. And I wanted to pick up on something I said before. You're going to find a sweet spot, but that doesn't mean you always have to go back to that. It's quite all right to add some variation. Go wider some days. Take your toes out a little. See if that feels a little different on your hips. So it's kind of like you're training your hips and everything to take the load in different planes. Right. And that's what's nice about using free weights versus a machine, right? Where you might always be in a similar plane. So I like this. That was great. So that's a little rundown on squats. Thanks, Louise.
Thanks, Sheila.